Good afternoon, everyone. We will call this meeting to order. First, we'll have a roll call. Councilman, roll call, please.
Ramon?
Here.
I am here.
Okay, we got us all here. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to take a brief pause. Our attorney is stuck in traffic, and he has part of the presentation he'll be making here. So that'll give these folks up here time to finish reading the bios of the people that apply.
Oh, she can. Yes. Please, look. I'm sorry for that. I'm not.
I laugh about it.
Yeah.
I'm just in the middle of a robot. And covers.
Okay.
It did, it got stuck in traffic. Logging it.
I called it. Good job.
I thought it didn't show my clothes.
Oh, yeah. I like it. So maybe we're gonna do it the real thing.
I am. I'm working. I got two.
Shoot. Yeah. Would go.
Can that communicate?
I want to. It's okay, you're not the first. School president.
The eyes are the same as my dress.
I just know it's free. Like sometimes it's like. Everyone's going. Yeah. Yes. I'm a freshman next year. I know it's.
It's pretend you didn't see.
I didn't see it.
There, we're just going to
What is
I'm sorry. I'm speeding. Sorry.
Are you folks up here done reading, or do you need a little more time?
I need a little bit more time on this. Me about 10 minutes more.
Okay. Just let me know, then we'll.
Yes, sir. It starts with a base. It was a state release from just 5 miles north.
That's wonderful. I like parking in the middle of the road.
Right.
Right. Up to that side.
Right.
I like it. Yeah, that's what it is. What? Okay.
You want me in?
Okay, Rob. Ready. Looks like we're ready to proceed. Our city attorney Trotsky is here to make a presentation about some things, so we'll turn forward.
Okay. Just have to. Okay. Let's see if I can control this out. I apologize again for being late. I did get stuck in traffic down in the downtown Portland area and then in Wilsonville. I-5 is not what it used to be. There have been some questions asked about how the city is managing itself, how the government's supposed to operate. So I thought I would, for the public and for council, to explain a little bit. The voters recall several council members and the mayor. And in doing that, the voters are presumed to have understood the consequences, which was to bring the council down to 2 members. Questions come up whether or not the county should appoint new members of the city council. I suppose they could if the city asked and if they decided they had the authority to. But this is different from another situation that arose, I don't know, a year or so ago, where a fire district, I believe it was a special district in any case, had all of its board members recalled. It had no one to make the policy decisions for it. So somebody had to do it. And at that point, there's either a statute that allows county commissions to do it or the rule of necessity that somebody has to put people in charge of a government agency. So the county commission apparently elected to exercise its authority to do that. Here, we don't have that situation. We have 2 council members. The council members may disagree on some things, and if they do, then things don't happen as fast as they could. This reminds me a lot of a few years ago in another city. I'll name it. It was West Lynn, where my firm and I were city attorneys, and they had resignations of city council members. So they got down to 4 city council members who were divided usually this way, but sometimes this way. There was almost always a 2-2 vote, so they never could get much accomplished of anything of any import. Very similar to what could happen here. I don't know if you 2 will get along on some things and disagree on others. Yeah, that's entirely your political decision making. It's not mine to tell you what to do. But same things happened in other cities, and in West Lynn at that point in time, it took until the next election to get some turnover and the 5th position filled, and then things continued along. That's what will happen here. There's an election in November, so if you don't appoint some folks to help you out here on the city council, there is an election, and those positions will get filled in due course. That's just the nature of the process. Somebody once said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all of the others. And that's probably true. It gets ugly sometimes, it gets difficult. And back in the days of the Lincoln debated, Abraham Lincoln debated Stephen Douglas, one of them used the phrase that was popular at the time, the rough and tumble of politics. And it kind of caught on as became for a long time a phrase. And that's what we've got here, the rough and tumble of politics. It's not always pretty. And it's also been compared to making sausages, the political process. Nobody knows how the sausage gets made, but something comes out at the end, and that's what it is. And that's what the city's going through. And, it's everybody smile, take a deep breath, get along, don't call each other nasty names, and just, we'll get to a political solution to it. It's not unheard of. It happens from time to time. It's just the way politics is. So that's on that. There was a question about a council president, whether a council president is needed to conduct city business. The charter says that you should select somebody, and the city manager is empowered to call meetings to order, and then you're supposed to select somebody, and you can do that any way you wish. And if you can't select somebody, then there's no provision for it. But Roger and I were talking this morning about, you could take turns, one meeting one, next meeting the other, do that. You'd have to agree among yourselves to do that. And unfortunately, because it takes 2 of you to have a quorum and 2 of you to talk, everything that you say needs to be done in a public meeting. So if you want to talk about it, you should talk about it here at these meetings and not outside, because then you'd be conducting a meeting that would violate public meetings laws. So I do encourage you to talk about that if there's a way you can come to agree about how to have somebody in charge of the meeting. Otherwise, my suggestion is that because the city manager or administrator, it says manager in the rules, but it's really an administrator, is supposed to call the meeting to order, that he continue to do it, to continue to move the meeting along, unless you can come up with somebody to be the chair of each meeting. So should I pause here for a minute and let you two talk about your ideas about how to run, who should chair the meetings? Be happy to let you do that.
On the last meeting, we came up with conclusions where we composed properly. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I would like that, just so we can continue going on this.
In that case, if one of you should make a motion to do that, and then the two of you can vote on that. That you would jointly manage the meetings? Is that what your motion would be?
Well, I will motion on that. Both of us could share the meeting. One day, one meeting you and one meeting.
To alternate back and forth then. Okay. Do you have a suggestion as to who would be first and who would be second?
I would like to be first. No objection to that.
Well, you came in at, what, 4 or 5 months ago,
A year.
a year. If I'm gonna complete 6 years. And being the senior person, I think I should have to say so.
I see that. As many years you had been on this board, I already thought that you could be a mayor.
Well, I was going to, but then I turned it down.
Any particular reason why?
No, I just didn't want to turn it, I just wanted to turn it down. I know I had the capability. I was president of Local 68 where I worked, but
So you had the opportunity to be a president of the councils too, didn't you? Now,
yes. I went to several conferences throughout the state of, well, north, there was 27 mills in the Northwest. And I went to all their meetings.
I think you misunderstood me. You also had the opportunity to be the president of the council, right?
Yes,
You did not.
no, I didn't. I had to know how, but I just didn't want to do it.
Now you want to.
No, not really. I wanted not be the mayor.
You don't want to be the mayor, but you want to be the president of the council.
I sure do.
You had an opportunity, Junior. And I have an opportunity to be the council.
Well, you spoke up first. And I let you.
Say I wanted to be, but you rejected. You said no. Maybe for the fact that you got more years on this city council. I respect that. But we also got to give people other opportunities. So they can be up here too and see what they got for us.
Well, that will be determined here in that next election.
Okay.
But I know we got to select some people here for the council.
Yes, at this point, I don't see none of these applications that really interest me on them being on board. Maybe if I look that over again and again, might be able to get to be out of it, but I doubt it.
Well, we got 7 people here we can select from. I thought there would be more. How did you want us to pick these councils?
I think the best way to do this, since there would have to be an interview process, just vote for who you would want to interview, either yes or no. And then we'll tally it up, and if we get 2 yeses per person, then you get the interview. If we get the yes and the no, we don't. It has to be unanimous. Because otherwise, one of you wants to interview somebody and the other doesn't, it's a waste of time.
And it's gotta be done today, right?
The selection needs to be done today. Once any of these people get selected, they'll be notified, we'll figure out a date that you will be able to interview with your case. And after the interview is done, you would select as many of those that you interview, either yes or no, as far as being seated at the council.
Oh, that's unfair. It sounds fair.
Okay, we can go that route. But at this point, I'm not really ready to pick none of this. Any of the applicants that I got here.
Just for a matter of process, we need to have you fill out the ballot. Both of you respectively. I'll tally it and I will announce the results.
Okay.
The people that are on, that have applied: Audra Geddes, Brian Wagner, Diana Park, Jesse Geddes, Michael Johnson, Victor Wright, and Phil LaFleur. That's the slate you have.
If I may ask, how soon would you like them to turn those back into you? As soon as possible?
During this meeting.
Okay with me?
While you're thinking things over, if I could talk a little bit more about something else. The city manager told me that he had gotten a public records request for some personal notes of council members during meetings. Oddly enough, my firm got to argue that case in a trial court and then at the Court of Appeals. And at the trial court said, no, somebody's, in this particular case, a city council member, her name is Terry Cummings. The case is Bialystowski versus Cummings. Bialystowski was at the time a high school student. He's now the mayor of West Lynn. And Terry Cummings was then a city council member who kept copious notebooks. She sent me a photograph of a bookcase full of little, paper binders, like you take a high school or a college test in, that are sewn bindings. And she keeps all of her notes in those things. Everything there from her grocery shopping list to her to-do today list. But she also takes her notes from city council meetings in those notebooks. And Mr. Bialystowski wanted them. She never gave them to the city. And the city said, we don't have any of those. And so he sued her in the circuit court and the city. And the judge said, no, you don't have to give them. But he appealed to the Court of Appeals. And the Court of Appeals says, oh, yes, you do. Those notes that you take, even though you're mixed in with your private information, that all is a matter of public record. And either you give them to the city recorder, who's sitting over here, and she becomes the custodian of them, or else you keep them yourself, and then you are the custodian, and you're required to keep them for a certain number of years, depending upon what the subject matter is of There are 100 different rules the Secretary of State has come out with for how long you have to keep different kinds of information. So it's always easier if you give them to the city recorder and she could put them in the files and just keep them there. But as Ms. Cummings never did that, she kept them and she still has them at home and she's still subject to getting public records requests that she has to comply with. So the choice is yours as council members, unless you adopt a rule that you both have to, and everybody else would have to comply with. Just be aware that every time you write down any notes or you use something that somebody prepared, for example, if I gave you my little cheat sheet here and you read it and you used it in a meeting, that would become something that is a public record that you have to preserve for the public to use. I don't. I'm exempt because I'm not a public body. You're a public body. Each of you, it's a definitional thing that makes no sense. I don't know why one person is a public body when the city council is supposed to be the public body, but the Court of Appeals read it that way, or at least 2 of the 3 judges did. One of them agreed with us and said, no, that doesn't make sense. But 2 of them said yes. So just so you know that is the rule. So all of the papers you have in front of you when you have notes, keep them yourself for the public or else give them to the city recorder. And what that means is if you don't want everybody in the world to know about it, don't write it down.
That'd be something that we all 5 have to abide by.
Yes, everybody who's an elected official of the city has to abide by that, yes.
Are we gonna proceed with the selection?
Yes, go ahead and do that. Mark on your ballots there and your signature down at the bottom below your.
The 3 one and the
Well, as it turns out, none of these people will be here. None of them were unanimous. So the next step,
None got a majority.
yeah, that's correct, yeah. So this will be published as part of the public record for this meeting. The next step is, do we continue with 2 council members, or do we keep the application process open?
I suggest we keep it open.
Put a time limit on it or not?
I'll be till the end of the month,
To the end,
or 2 weeks.
through the end of August. Okay. We'll make a note on the website where it says applicants. So they get their instructions and come pick up a applicant sheet. That this will be extended through the end of August. That way they'll know it's still active.
To make it formal, one of you should make a motion to that extent and actually vote on it.
I make a motion, we extend, the application, up to the end of the month.
Yeah, second.
Call the roll.
Peter?
Yes.
Unanimous? Unanimous, so the motion passes.
You see, we can get things done.
Well, it's gonna take time.
So I don't think we have any other business to come before the council today. Do you have anything else, Ed?
Oh, no, let me just check through my notes if I need anything else. I did want to point out the public records rule, just because it hasn't come up before here. And the Court of Appeals made this, what I consider a very broad, too broad decision. It's unfortunately the law, right? And you're stuck with it. So if you make notes here, save them or give them to the city recorder. No, that would do it. And this is a special meeting, so it should be kept to one subject that we addressed. So that's it, I guess.
Okay, we'll think about what to do about the regularly scheduled council meetings for this month. Take a look at practicality of that. But as far as this meeting is concerned, calling it adjourned at 2:41 in the afternoon. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your participation.